In today's video, we get back to our 1976 Alfa Romeo Spider that was running when parked 24 years ago. We're going to take a shot at getting the fuel pump freed up by using a technique I've used in the past where we fill it with carb cleaner and shake it around and tap it against the ground and see if we can't loosen it up, as well as assess the tank and look at the rest of the vehicle. So join me as we kind of dive into that, and hopefully by the end of this we'll be looking at a running vehicle. Thanks for joining. Well, after fighting that fuel pump for a while, I was unable to get it to run. So we ordered another one from Amazon. I think we picked one for a Ford F-250 somewhere in the 80s that has the right pressure. It's a lot smaller form factor, but I think we'll make it work. But it's not going to be here until December 31st, I believe. So that's not going to help me right now. But there is a lot of work to do. And so we decided to go ahead and dive into the fuel tank. We know that it's dirty. I went ahead and pulled the, I stuck a camera down there and I saw that it was, looked pretty nasty. And so I pulled the fuel sending unit out of it, and it definitely looks bad. I can look down directly into the fuel well. Yeah, so I was able to blow back through it, and so it's not plugged, but I've got just a lot of sediment sitting down inside of there, which will end up in the fuel filter. And then the inside of the tank does not look great either. So I went ahead and took some it's phosphoric acid. It's a milkstone remover and acid rinse. It's used for I think, getting a buildup off of production equipment. I ordered this a while back. I poured all that in there, let it sit overnight last night. Getting this tank out, if you ever have to take one of these tanks out, which I've done a couple of times, it's basically just got some screws around it. The fuel, it's got some emission stuff here that I had to pull off, and the fuel filler neck. The biggest problem was really getting the rubber part off because there's just no place for it to go. And so I managed to damage it as I was getting it off, so you can see a little bit of light through it. And getting it out, if you ever have to get it out, the easiest way is I would just cut that hose, and then I would get it out of the way, and then I would get the fuel filler out of the way, and then I would lift the tank from the back over here up, and then that allows it to go out and then come out, because it really, you have a tail light here, and there's just not a lot of room. It's a wedge fit in there. But anyway, I've got it out. I guess the last unknown is really that mechanical fuel pump. I know when I was watching the video that I made before that I explained that system, but I really didn't do a good job of it. I think this is the pump itself, and then there are 4 pistons in here. This is keyed to the engine. It's got to be timed, and it's got a tooth belt on it. And here's another one here, actually, that I've got. This is the tooth belt. And here's the second pump that I've got. And you can just kind of see how moving that. And then there's a hole, they call it the brain back here, that has a lever on it. And that lever, when you do the throttle, it tells the pump how much fuel to inject and how much not to inject. So it alters kind of the stroke. All right, don't judge me. I am drying my tank out. I went ahead and rinsed it out with water after letting it soak, and scraping as much as I could, and actually don't think it doesn't look too bad. So all right, continuing to work here. I'm going to show you kind of what I've done. I did get the fuel pump out and clean it out. I did get it back in. This is the filler neck tube that I ordered, and so I just need to continue to reassemble that. I haven't put any gas in the tank yet. What I'm doing right now is I'm going to pull fuel out of a gas can and run it through the system and have it empty out into the tank through the return line, which is that one right there. And so the reason I'm doing that is because I'm missing an adapter to go from 1/2 inch to to 5/16. Yeah. So the new pump that I ordered has 5/16 ends on both sides. The one that I came off of it has a 1/2 inch inlet and then a 5/16 discharge. And so what I just need to do is choke it down, and then and so I don't have the ability to do that right now. So what I'm going to do is just run that out of the tank over here. Everything is a little bit temporary, and there's always the risk of fire. So I did turn my heater off, and I'll show you what I've got down here and see. So this is the big 5/16 line coming out of the tank, and then there's a filter here, and there's 5/16 line. Here's the new pump. It's out of a Ford F-150, and I've got it just kind of wired. I got to put some fittings on that and heat shrink when the time comes, and then find a way to nest it in that existing holder up there. But I've got this coming back, and it's just down inside of this tank. So I'm going to turn the key on. That pump is going to run. I'm going to come back and see if I can hear fuel coming back into the tank, and that'll tell me that the system is bypassing and that I've got fuel all the way up to the front. So that's kind of my plan at the moment. All right. There's the fuel pump. Okay, we should. I should look under there just to make sure. The pump is making noises. Yeah. Can you hear that? I'm not hearing a lot of sounds coming out of that engine. And it acts like it doesn't have any, like it's not sparking at all. Haven't done anything here. All of that is still together, I think. Yeah. I took the plugs out and dried them off. They were pretty wet and fouled, and so I didn't know if I had any plugs around here. I went ahead and took a look, and I found some BPR 6ESs, which is what it takes. I only had 3. And so I went looking on my motorcycle shelf, and I found this probably Chinese brand of plug. So for my last one, I'm just going to take a chance and throw a CQ brand F7TC on there. It looks like it's the right length and everything, so we'll give that a shot, see if I get any better results with that. Okay, a couple of potential reasons for it not to start. One of the changes that I made was this piece of linkage had fallen off, because this piece was had just dried and split. It's just a little eye piece that attaches to that, and I did find another one in my stash, and I hooked it up. And when I did hook it up, I had to sort of open this to make it be able to go on. And so having the throttle partially open might be a problem. So it might let more air in than the mixture allows for. And so I probably just need to adjust this out and then try to rehook it up. But first I'll try to start it and see if that actually is the issue. The battery is getting pretty low, and so I've got that on the charger. And what else? What other reason could it be? The system, I guess maybe when I have worked on the fuel pump in the past, the mechanical injection pump, I've had to bleed the lines a little bit to get it to start pumping again. And so that might be part of my issue as well, is that it sat so long that the stuff in there just dried up and is no longer in the lines. And so I've got to push fuel up through those lines. And so what that would mean would just be cracking these lines and then cranking it to see if I can get fuel starting to come out of them, and then tightening them back down, a lot like a diesel. So that's kind of what I'm hoping. That's none of that. It's just going to start and be fine. It started the other day for me, so I'm going to go ahead and give it another shot. We'll give it a shot. Oh. Nope. All right, we'll stop there and let it charge fully. They say expectations are the thief of joy, and my expectations were that this pump was not going to be a problem at all. It's not doing what I needed to do right now, and I'm sick. I went down for a running event a few days ago, and in the middle of the event I started not feeling well and ended up pulling the plug and coming home, and I've kind of been sick since. I'm out here just kind of looking at this thing. I was hoping not to have to pull the air cleaner off because it's just 4 different boots that I have to worry about and all that. But I had the thought when I was doing my troubleshooting, thinking about what could it be that's keeping it from running. And one other thing it could be is the belt, the tooth belt that drives the pump could be bad. So I have to look at that. The other thing that I have to do is potentially bleed these injectors here. I haven't cracked them open, but it's a lot easier to reach them when I don't have this in place, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull that off. I guess that's the sacrifice that I have to make for the mission here. Anyway, I'm just going to put a couple of hours into it today, and then I'm going to go and just relax, try to regroup and get well. For all my crying, that took about 5 minutes, if not less. For today's Darwin Awards entry, we're going to use the bypass for the starter to make it go. We're going to turn on the ignition switch. We're going to use starting fluid on the cylinders that don't have any fuel going to them, and we'll see if we can make it run. And if I need to, I can get it another hand and do the throttle right here. So let me give it a shot now. Just like that. Oops. Come on, baby. I don't think I have good contact here. Let's see here. No, practice and theory are not the same thing. We might want to call this episode Blood and Gasoline because I'm bleeding all over the place. But we have had some success, it looks like. What I did was I went ahead and installed the adapter so that we could pull fuel out of the tank. In the process, I found that the filter that I had on it was really plugged, and went ahead and changed that to a new filter. And one of the thoughts I was thinking about was that maybe I had that I wasn't getting good pressure because the pump might be pulling air out of the tank as the hose moved around in there. So I thought, well, the best thing to do is to put it completely on its own tank and get a complete circuit of fuel coming up and going back through the bypass. And so I went ahead and did that. and then I cranked on it just for a little while right now, and then I saw this whole section was wet. I did cut my finger while I was doing fuel hoses about 20 minutes ago, and I'm still bleeding from it, so I should probably put a band-aid on it, but I'm leaving my mark all over this thing. So I'm going to tighten up these fuel lines, and then we're going to see if we can't get something going here. I again ran my batteries down in the shop, and so I'm working in the dark here. It's charging, but it's kind of a overcast day with a little bit of snow on the ground, and so I'm gonna just have to work in the dark, and hopefully it won't be too bad for you. Success! Oh, we've been running it for about 5 minutes, and we have oil pressure and we have temperature. The fuel gauge is not working, and I know for why, because it's not connected, and also because it's pretty rusty, so I'm gonna have to work on that. It looks like we have tachometer and actually tachometer maybe. That's our speedometer, I think. I'm not sure. That's tachometer. Speedometer doesn't seem to be doing anything. We'll have to maybe try to get more speed out of that. Let's try second gear. Try brakes. Alright, this is going to be it for this video. I just wanted to get this thing running, and it looks like it's running, and it starts pretty easily, it seems like. But we'll give it another shot. We'll do a few cold starts on it and see if we can make sure that it runs well. I'm not sure if it's misfiring or not. The mixture doesn't sound exactly right. But it's a start. So thank you for watching.